values in Mexico. Family is one of the most important elements in Mexican society. Especially outside of cities, families are typically large, and Mexicans are very conscious of their responsibilities to immediate family members and extended family such as cousins and even close friends. Family culture influences the way each family member thinks, feels, and acts every day. One's family tends to have a major influence on the individual, providing a sense of identity, community, and support. There is a general expectation placed upon Mexicans to be loyal and committed to their family by putting the interest of the family above their own. Family relations provide Mexicans with a network of security and support, particularly in times of need. Mexicans are generally very close with the extended relatives from all different generations. Mexicans have an infinity of values which we use every day, anywhere and in front of any person. Let's see some examples. First of all, we have love, which consists of loving and respecting people around us. Respect. Give their place to each person. Don't discriminate. Don't offend. Accept their ideas and beliefs. Humbleness. See everyone as our fellow man regardless of color, religion, or any economic status. Gratitude. Recognize good deeds, a gesture of affection, commitment, or a task well done. There is extremely value for harmony in the coexistence of the home. Teaching gratitude and keeping this value alive in the family will be great importance to all its members. As a conclusion, one of the most important things for Mexican culture are values. However, as in the iceberg model mentions, most of us, we cannot see many important elements that are considered in our culture. We can only perceive the cultural surface on the iceberg, but we cannot see beyond the tip of it. Invisible factors in the tip of the iceberg sometimes are difficult to identify. Nevertheless, we must consider them in order to understand better our culture and reflect on how we have lived in all this time within society.
And I'm going to talk about attitudes toward the environment. I chose this topic because I think that the environment nowadays it is a relevant topic to talk about. It is necessary to know because environment is culture too, as a language, traditions, religion, food, dress, and arts. It is difficult to understand because it is below of the cultural iceberg. It means that it is something that we cannot observe clearly. But for understanding better, I would like to define attitudes. They are how we will decide to think and feel about any situation. They can be positive or they can be negative. It is influenced by emotions. So, I believe that the environment has been deteriorating thanks to beliefs and ways of seeing life that establish values and attitudes. In Mexico, environmental culture is not practicing. In a lot of occasions, some institutions have warned us about future issues that we will have and we don't look after it. Despite of many people who are really interested in it, sadly, we are not the majority with environmental culture. Positive attitudes are very important in this case, but I believe that in Mexico we commit a lot of attitudes against the environment. For example, a huge consumption of products that we really don't need, a huge consumption of water, and a huge consumption of electricity. It has a consequence in our natural resources because they are running low. Because we constantly take future natural resources, I'm pretty sure that some attitudes, positive or negative, are adopted for a social circle, family, friends, teachers, and maybe media of communication. Well, we have different ideas, norms, behaviors, and values. For example, if your parents never taught to you to look after animals, you don't know you won't do it because you don't know the value that animal has have in the environment. Okay, some attitudes that we should turn in culture are reduce the use of water. Reuse it. Have you ever seen people who take long showers or when they brush their teeth they don't close the water tap? They are wasting water. Reduce energy. Reduce the use of transport. We should use bicycle or public transportation. Avoid plastic bottles and bags. Reduce clothes, toys, and cars. And the most important one, we should teach the new generations the value of environment. We have to learn that take care of the environment is culture too.
Hi, my name is Edith, and I'm going to explain about the beauty ideals. First, I'm going to explain the concept of beauty. Beauty is something that differs depending on perception, culture, and simple personal taste. Beauty is the description of a property or characteristic to a person, object, animal, place, or idea that provides a perceptual experience of pleasure or satisfaction. Mexican beauty. Mexican beauty which have transcended through time and might even stay put for years to come. All those features that not only Mexicans recognize as beautiful, but also people around the world. The ideals of Mexican beauty can be generalized in the body shape. This is curvaceous with a hourglass or guitar shape, well proportionate, and is not precisely a thin body type. In men, a body neither thin nor fat. It has to be in shape, wide back, tall, and with a little body hair. Another characteristic that defines Mexican beauty is the eyes. People look for big eyes with large and long lashes, expressive and bright eyes. Additionally, the brows. These have to be well defined and groomed with an average thickness. And finally, the lips. In general, people look out for a mouth with volume in both lips, although it could be enough with a fuller bottom lip. It should have a natural pink reddish coloring and well-defined cupid's bow. In theory, the lip should look sensual but not vulgar. Mexican beauty through the years. As you can see, depending in the time, those aspects mentioned before has changed. You can notice the difference between the past years and nowadays, because they look different, they change. In first they change a little, but later they change more. And finally, this is the concept of beauty that we have in these days.
Hi, I am going to talk about manners in Mexico. Table manners. When you are sharing in a meal, it's so customary to wish other dinner buen provecho before you start eating. Buen provecho is similar to the well-known French expression bon appétit. If you need to leave a meal early, you should be excuse yourself and again wish everyone in the table buen provecho. Charming, many people will also wish other dinner in the restaurant buen provecho on their way out. As in most countries, when sharing a meal, it's customary to wait for everyone to be assembled before starting to eat. Tipping. In a restaurant where it's safe to receive a tip for 10–50% on the bill. Throw, for instance, a general expression in the tip on the higher end on the scale, in bar and the 10 perceived treat standard. Remember the tools folks tropical early minimum much. Even a small trip can be helpful. In the customary to tip parents at the airport or total several dollars paid back, depending on however you are going and the size of your love. In a nice hotel, it's necessary to give a higher tip. Punctuality. Mexico has a well-earned reputation for running on the slower clock. Certainly, there is leisure usually in Mexico. It's not considered expensive rules that are retarding the social engagement. However, when you come to the doctor appointment, business meeting, boys, school, or any other office event, punctuality is just as important in Mexico as it is anywhere else. Whenever you ask anything, always use please and thank you. Any language guidebook will teach you the correct way to say the respectful phrase that you like que le operador. You will usually be addressed as señor and señorita unless you introduce someone as señora, meaning she is married. When you are introduced to someone, make a slowly bow to respect acknowledgement for over your hand. When you shake hands, use a very light grip. It's too traditional to use the formal from you, usted, than the informal tu, when addressed elders, supportmen, superior, and strange. However, so few gringos speak Spanish. If any customer in temple speak Spanish is acceptable, although using the correct pronunciation is natural best. When taking leave, say bye, adios, hasta luego, or see you later. Also, saying disculpe or excuse me before asking a question of someone to a polite way for saying excuse me before loudly introduce request for information or directions.
Gender roles in Mexican culture. What are gender roles? Gender roles in society mean the way how we are expected to act, speak, dress, and conduct ourselves based upon our assigned sex. Every society, ethnic group, and culture has gender role expectations, but they can be very different from group to group. They can also change in the same society over time. The stereotypes about gender can cause unequal and unfair treatment because of a person's gender. Extreme gender stereotypes are harmful because they don't allow people to fully express themselves and their emotions. In Mexico, inequalities between genders are significant and are reflected in a variety of fields, such as education, health, economics, and politics. Gender inequalities in Mexico are still perceived as normal, which contributes to a psychosocial barrier that restrains the choices individuals have, as well as limiting their access to existing opportunities. These barriers limit human, economic, and social development. Inequality in gender roles in Mexican culture has been present for centuries. For example, it was and is still believed that men are the head of a household. They are the ones that go out to work and are the main source of income. Women, on the other hand, are ideally placed at home as housewives and are responsible for doing housework, and they are the ones that take care of their children's well-being. One thing about gender roles in Mexican culture is that if a woman is over 30 and is still not married, people say that se le pasó el tren, which means that it will be left alone and no one will marry her. This is funny because this doesn't apply to men. But if a woman is under 30 and leaves her parents' house without getting married first, people will talk about it and they'll say that she left home because she was pregnant or because se la robó el novio, which means that her boyfriend stole her or she escaped with her boyfriend. In both scenarios, it is a bad thing for a woman, but for a man, it's seen as something good. Another thing that characterizes gender roles in Mexican culture is that a woman's place is home, and that if a woman is outside home without her husband, people would reprimand her for being there. Men, however, are able to leave their home and be outside by themselves, and society would not reprimand them. Gender role structure that Mexican culture has established can also be seen in the way men and women dress. Women are considered to dress fancy, with bright colors, showing their attributes in moderation, otherwise people would think wrong things about her. Also, women are always expected to look good even if they're home. Whether for men, dressing it doesn't really matter. The gap between gender roles can also be seen in the jobs and positions that each gender should follow. In Mexican culture, women are the ones that are expected to do jobs or have occupations that do not demand a lot of effort, jobs that are not that tough, or that do not require a lot of knowledge. Women are expected to do jobs where they can show their femininity. If a woman does a job that is considered to be a man's job, society will start judging that woman and will question her sexual orientation. This happens the same way around with men. Machismo and Marianismo are two other gender role descriptions used within the Mexican culture to describe gender roles. These descriptions dictate certain expectations for members of the community. Machismo places a high value on manliness. Men are expected to be independent and the dominant figure in the family. Machismo is also a way of asserting the power of men over women, but it is also a way in which men assert power amongst themselves. One of men's greatest offenses could be not to be a macho. So men use machismo to show their masculinity. Studies have shown that machismo has much to do with men who suffer from job insecurities. Marianismo, on the other hand, refers to the femininity and to the ideals that women are modest, restrained, virtuous, and nurturing. This term also refers to a woman's role as a mother, which is viewed as more important as her role as a wife, because in the Mexican culture, women are to be the caretakers for the entire family before putting themselves ahead. Some women are said to support machismo by being submissive to men, dependent to them, and passive. Although a woman's gender roles still hold similar values as it did decades ago, the role in society and in the family dynamic are changing and evolving with time itself. Also, much of the gender role ideal still remain prevalent in Mexican culture. Immigration in time itself has evolved the ideals. Time itself has also changed gender roles, but has not completely abolished them. There are now modernized gender roles due to the modernization of society. Modern influences for both men and women has encouraged individuals to shift their gender roles to less prevalent, and it has given both men and women the opportunity to expand their horizons. Breaking down gender stereotypes will allow everyone to be their best selves.